The kids bring the most energy, I think, because the 21 plus crowds are usually they're just holding their beer or whatever.
Oh yeah,
with their flannel. And...
I know, right? And they get mad if we knock their beer out. I'm like, dude, you knew this coming in.
Like okay, if you're at a hardcore or extreme type show, don't stand in the middle of the pit with your beer and not expect for something to start happening.
Right.
You're stupid. and because they're holding the beer and because they just don't want to mosh, they don't want to dance. Some do. So I like indie concerts are fun because like indie pits are just like dancing and jumping and everybody's just holding their beer and just I'm sick. But hardcore is like you can't crowd kill and keep your beer intact at the same time. It just doesn't work.
Oh my god. Welcome to the Taking the Lead Media Podcast, broadcasting from the lovely island of Oahu, playing a weekly playlist of local and independent music from here on the island and the rest of the world. My name is Onofre, and this is episode 105. Thank you for tuning in and checking out the show. What you heard at the start of the show was just a little clip from my talk with Lewis of Pennyback Records, and that's pretty much how the whole talk will sound like on today's episode. Please don't mind the soft audio on this episode. It was a bad setup on my end of the conversation, and it does sound kind of weird and on the softer side, so sorry about that, but if you crank it up, it'll be fine. But overall, it was a fun talk. Awesome show today. Lewis of Pennyback Records joins me on the show, and we have a chat about the label, the bands on the label, the music scene in general, shows, going on the road, mosh etiquette, barbecuing, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Definitely a fun talk and a good time. A little bit about the label. Pennyback Records is based in Glendale, California. Started in 2014, and the two main dudes of the label, Julian and Lewis. But it seems more like a network of mainly, or really just a tight group of friends working together, putting out music, playing shows, and being active in the music scene. Very much like down here, from what I've seen. So some new stuff coming up from this label in the coming months, as will be mentioned in this episode. I also do play tracks in the shows. They're scattered about, so keep an ear out for them. So here it is, a Pennyback Records theme show with Lewis, here on the Taking the Lead Media Podcast. Right on, man. Well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, virtually. Online, this is the only way to do it
now. I know, right?
No more meeting in person. That's what we're going for.
Yeah. Right on. So what part of Cali are you from or in right now?
Right now, I'm in Glendale, California. This is my hometown, born and raised. I'm about 15 minutes from everything. I'm about 15 minutes from like Hollywood, downtown LA, Pasadena, Burbank, the Valley, all those areas. So it's a weird little pocket in Los Angeles County, but it's a nice little place. I represent it.
Nice. Glendale. I keep thinking I've heard that somewhere on like TV, like a fictional family.
Maybe I honestly I don't know. There's a big Armenian population over there, so maybe Kardashian related or something.
Oh, okay.
Like that, but possibly.
Oh man. When you guys did that joke for Clit Cat, like you guys were gonna break up. When you
which joke?
When you guys announced that was your last show.
Oh. Okay, dude, the thing behind that is like we had been a lot of the homies in the band we have side projects, right? And I guess Click Cat got a lot of good momentum this past year, and then it got to the summertime, and a lot of our homies were doing their other stuff with their band's projects, so Click Cat kind of got like behind a little bit, and I was getting pretty frustrated, and everybody was kind of getting stressed out because things were like, because we started fighting, we started bickering and talking shit and being like, you guys aren't doing enough of this, I'm not doing enough of this, yada yada yada, and so I kind of like, let's make a joke, like spoof on ourselves that it's gonna be our last show because we can't function together right now.
I was like, You stoners, get your shit together. You fuckers.
Oh yeah, we made that goof that like, oh, weed is so much better. Might as well drop everything else. Yeah, and people actually believed it, which I thought was kind of stupid, but I'm glad they did because it was funny. It was
Right.
funny.
Was it a good turnout at least? Like,
Actually, that night, no. You know what I think happened? I think that like everybody was gonna bust a fat mission to go see us. Like a lot of our friends from the OC, Orange County, were gonna come see us and shit. And people were telling me that they're getting off work, and I was just like, no, I feel too bad. You know, like I'm not gonna make all these people come for our not last show. So we told everybody. Eventually, we posted that it was a joke, and people were like, all right, I'll go, because we were going to play a show the next weekend after. They're like, I'll just go see you next weekend. Yeah, but we actually had a really fun show. That one was actually a really good time. We had a lot of space for people to. I like seeing people do somersaults and cartwheels in the pit.
Nice.
Like, people don't really have to mosh, but as long as our crowd has like activity and they're doing something rambunctious, I think that's the type of shit we vibe with. So we had kids doing somersaults on stage and off the stage. It was a fun show.
Nice.
Yeah. How'd you find out about us? I'm curious about that, actually.
Oh yeah, sure. It was actually kind of random. I think, or it was actually ClickCat, the Gram account, liked a photo of mine on Instagram, right? And I don't know, it might have been a record or something. So like, who's this? And clicked it, saw that you're a band, and looked you guys up, and then yeah, pretty much checked out Pennyback from there. And
that's sick, dude.
Yeah, so it was just a random thing, really. So
I was probably figuring we didn't show with a Hawaii punk band. They came down here called the Rotten Blossoms.
oh, okay, yes, yeah. So I've heard, I've heard their music, yeah, for sure. And I think it might have been attributed to that too, just because I listen to their stuff too, but I don't know them, but yeah, they're good stuff. Good stuff.
Cool. I kind of thought it could have been from that connection. Well, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you actually like took a chance on it and ended up vibing with it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's super sick.
This stuff, yeah. You quick time. It's different. I don't know how to describe it. It's more like I wanted to say punk rock. I don't want to throw the Riot Girl label on there either.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think?
I think. Well, when we started, I just wanted it to be a very dirty ass, goofy punk band. My idea was to start a hardcore band that, like, you know, makes music that sounds like, you know, we're total beefheads or, you know, whatever just like jockey ass type of hardcore kids. but our lyrics and themes are about just total nonsense. Right. You know, like fucking Steve Buscemi.
Right. That song is so good. Right. I love that song.
Right. And I think I like the idea of the humor coinciding with the hardcore aspect of it, because a lot of kids go to hardcore shows and they're like, yeah, I like this shit, but I'm not taking it, you know, I'm not taking myself too seriously. You know, I'm not the most, I'm not the most,
PC guy?
human being possible. Like, I have a sense of humor or whatever.
Right.
So I want kids to come to the shows and be like, oh, I can go here and I can fucking, you know, like twist my nipples in the pit and, you know, just lie on the floor and roll around. And that's the kind of pit, like, I want to see it. And I want kids to feel that they can do that kind of shit.
Nice.
Like, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I've been to shows where I guess the rowdiness and aggressiveness that goes on in the pit is kind of I guess regulated. Like, they'll actually tell people, calm down, stop throwing your arms around. People just want to watch the show.
Do you have like crowd killers in Hawaii? That's
Some,
the type of
yeah.
scene.
And I think depending on the band, yeah, for sure. And I think maybe the crowd and maybe the venue, I feel sometimes too. But I guess, um, I don't know if it's just because the bar is like right next to the stage and like
Yeah.
people got drinks, just chill out, man. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
all right. But
That's
yeah,
pretty chill.
but yeah, people can get pretty crazy at some shows. Yeah, I've seen.
I just think it's the most memorable aspect of a show, especially if you're trying to go for extreme music type shows like punk or metal or hardcore.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like when you come back from the show, you're amazed by the musicianship, but I think you're also amazed of what the energy of that music can do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
To a crowd of people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's kind of why I think
totally agree, man.
Kids and people that actually stick with it till their adult age, they kind of like really commit to it because there's just no other music that they can do that to somebody.
Oh yeah, yeah. Right.
I love saying that. I love the crowd interaction with the band and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen some of your live sets with ClickCan. It looks like it can get rowdy.
Yeah, back in the day, we had a singer before Mag, and our singer, her name was Sarah, and she only did like 4 shows with us. I don't know if you've heard our demos. Our demos is like the first thing we ever released.
Oh, okay.
And those were with our original singer. That's like our crustiest shit. That's like the most. Yeah, it's ridiculous. You should listen to it.
Oh, for sure.
She used to like go in the crowd. She used to come to shows late, and then she used to show up and be like, "I'm gonna hit some." She's like, "I'm gonna hit somebody tonight," and we're like, "Oh, all right, okay." We'd just be playing, and she'd go out into the crowd and start like shoving people against the wall.
Nice.
And she would always have like a bloody lip or something, but it was pretty ridiculous.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that the band and crowd interactions like that. I mean, it could be surprising, maybe shocking, but like
well, because it just separates the bullshit of like, oh, like I'm the artist. I am the entertainment of the night. Which like, yeah, you are, but also people are coming to your show so they could have this with everybody else. You know what I mean? And I love when the band doesn't separate themselves from the crowd. That's the authenticity of it that I preference.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think all of us as well, everybody in the band.
That could be definitely a fun show. Yeah, you guys do that.
Definitely.
If you're ready for it. Sometimes I'm not ready. Yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna go stand over there.
Yeah, definitely. No, oh shit, you're right. I mean, I don't know. Did you mosh when you were younger?
Oh yeah,
much younger.
It was definitely all the time.
Because you want to get your wiggles out, and especially me. Like I was a straight edge kid. Like I didn't do drugs at the time, so I literally just had all the energy in the world to like be in the pit and just wear my ass off. And then I turned 20. No, it was about when I was like 19. I was just like, fuck, I just can't do it anymore, dude. Because these kids are getting worse. Like I grew up in the burger record scene. Like when I started going to shows, it was like burger record shit. And pits for burger record shows, I mean, usually are just like very friendly, jumping and pushing or whatever. Now kids, like hardcore has kind of planted itself in our scene again, and kids are listening to like everything. So kids now love doing circle pits. They love throwing punches and shit and getting really aggressive. And my body just can't it can't do it right now.
Not right now.
Maybe when I get more into shape, maybe, and if I stop smoking weed and my lungs are better, I'll probably have like more drive to do it. But as of right now, no thanks. I like watching it though.
If you beef up, you're gonna be that guy that everyone's gonna like stay away from.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
And like, I don't want to be that dude either. I don't want to be in a pit with like 15-year-old kids, and I'm like taking off my shirt, and I'm just like, which one of these kids am I gonna fuck up?
Yeah, right.
Know? Just ridiculous.
Those guys can get scary. Right on. And it's cool that you guys have that Pennyback TV on YouTube. Yeah, I really like that stuff. Is it just you two, you and Julian?
My friend Julian and I, we started it in high school at sophomore year back in like 2013. But at first it was a review site, actually. It was like a movie and review site, and we canned the idea and then relaunched it as a label the next year. And him and I started it, and eventually along the way we've had like a circle of friends that, come and go. But this past group of friends have like stayed with us for like 2 years now. And they help us do extra shit. Like we have friends that help us book shows, and if they come to us and they're like, "Yo, Louis, Julie, can we do this show? Do a Pennyback show?" And we're like, "Yeah." And my friend Ryden helps me out with Pennyback TV. He actually does most of Pennyback TV, and and we just have homies like really down to help us operate and stuff. And
nice.
Julie and I usually are now doing more of the business side of it, and trying to figure. We're so young, we have a lot of time to fuck up, but I don't want to.
Right. Get it right the first time.
I want us to try to be on our shit as much as possible, but that's hard when you're 20 years old and I don't know. In Julian's case, he has a relationship and he has a job. I have a job, so it's like trying to grow up at the same time and be smart with your business is hard. So it's nice to have help. When we can get it. You know what I mean?
So you're doing only digital releases right now? It's all your stuff?
No, we do CDs, but we usually do. I mean, we usually do like 100 copies per everything. Kids aren't obviously really buying physical right now, and that's because of the whole online and instant gratification, instant download and stuff. But we still think it's very important, so that's why we do the limited releases we do. If we sell out of a release, then we will reprint. But as of right now, it's usually just 100. And when we do tapes, which is very rare, it's like we do 250 tapes.
Nice.
Usually. So, but online is pretty much our main drive right now, and getting our bands to play shows and hosting shows for them. Because I think, seeing a band live is like way cooler than just listening to their album.
Well, I try to make it out to shows if I can. Usually I'm just too busy. That's why I'm the guy who's always buying the records instead and just listening at home.
I love that. Do you still buy physical?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What are you buying, like CDs and vinyl? Or?
Yeah, with vinyl, I usually buy from labels, straight from the labels. With like mainstream stuff, I got the iTunes subscription, so I always check out stuff on there first. But I usually pick up vinyl if I can, and tapes, and I find myself going like digital mostly, or recently, just because it's a lot cheaper at the moment.
Sure.
Yeah, but if I can pick up a hard copy, for sure. But if I spend like $30 though on like a record, that's kind of pushing it.
Yeah, that's the downside. It's like you really want to buy this intimate piece of your favorite band, but it's just so fucking expensive, and they kind of made it so that they just want you to buy it online. I don't know, for some, maybe not. Maybe that's. But, I think if the industry was selling a lot of hard, they'd be pushing hard merchandise, like CDs and vinyl.
Yeah.
I went to I was in Vermont back in May, and I went to this record store and I bought this like Dark Throne album. I bought like a Blaze in the Northern Sky. And I bought like the special edition, and I didn't want to drop more than like $21 on it, and it ended up being like fucking $35 or something. But I was just like, God damn, like this feels so sick, and this cover is just so. It's just so. I don't know. I was just drawn to the physical aspect of it, so I had to fucking cough up $35 for it, but it was worth it. It's a great album. It's a really good album.
Well, I try to separate my mainstream purchases and my kind of like smaller or independent release kind of purchases. So I kind of throw mostly all my dough through independent stuff, because
that's a cool way to kind of separate it. It's like, okay, I can like buy online, I guess, for the mainstream, because they don't, whatever. The guys that are making the small merch, like the small bands, buy theirs. That's sick.
But I heard it's actually like really cheap, or not really cheap, but like pretty much affordable to press on vinyl. But I guess it's a lot has to do with the pressing time and all the delays and just waiting for shipments to come out.
I know vinyl is it's pretty fair pricing, especially if you were just doing 7 inches.
Yeah.
But the time is so long. Like I know a few labels that have been pressing on vinyl, and they've been going through kind of little hiccups because the time is so delayed.
Oh yeah.
So if you wanted to release this band's album in the next 3 months, and if you're only going to think about doing it on vinyl, you're going to have to wait about 9 to 10 months, almost a year, pretty much. So I think vinyl is usually a good idea for a band if if one, they want to wait that long, or if two, they just do it as kind of like a re-release or like a repress or something like that, something that the fans would love to touch or whatever. But yeah, I've always wanted Penny back to do vinyl one day, and I mean, we definitely will. If it's just a band's album, or if it's a comp, I think a comp would be really sick on vinyl. Actually.
Oh yeah. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
So I was looking through the songs you sent over. Thanks for that, by the way.
Oh, no problem.
Who did the song Scratch and Sniff?
That band's called Sloppy Jane.
Sloppy Jane? Oh, okay.
The first singer in Click had Sarah. She was the guitarist in that band. And then it's fronted by Haley Dahl. And she's actually just moved from LA to New York, and she's actually killing it in New York right now. And so she released that album like 2 years ago on Lollipop Records. I don't know if you've heard of Lollipop.
Oh, okay.
They're a label based out here as well. And then, but they never put her stuff online, so she wanted us to re-release it online with her. And so that was sick. And it was like my favorite EP like 2 summers ago. So
yeah,
it was really sick that we were able to do that. It's a good track, right? Kind of wacky, pretty goofy, right?
Yeah. And that's cool that all you guys are like in these other bands. It's like a little network of musicians.
Dude, that's exactly what it is, and I think to make a scene, to have a scene start, it has to be a group of friends that are literally just thinking of it as like a whole art project. All these friends like start making bands and shit. All their friends are gonna come and see them, and their friends are gonna come and see them, and their friends are gonna come and see them, and it just keeps going and going. And when you have like a group of kids that are like just constantly putting out art, constantly being active, and creating content or hosting shows, providing entertainment for like teens or whatever, it just kind of like manifests and starts doing its own thing. So yeah, no, I'm fortunate that I found those friends because I've made some cool shit with them, and I'm still stoked on doing it.
Yeah, for sure, man. How's the writing process? Does it clash? Like ClickCast, like just 5 members, right? Or there's 6 you guys.
There's 6.
6.
There's 6, and sometimes there's just 5. Kind of just it switches off. But it doesn't really clash because we all kind of listen to the same type of hardcore or the same type of music in general at the same time, so we're always kind of on the same level. I usually write most of the music, and then our bassist Julian, who does Pennyback with me. He has his own songs, and our keyboardist Kieran writes a few riffs for ClickCat as well.
Oh,
so it's actually kind of it's very communal. We're pretty chill with it, and the fighting comes from just lack of responsibility, I guess, or like, fuck, dude, we've been a band for 2 years and we haven't had any t-shirts. What's wrong with us? It's just something we haven't even done yet. We'll go on a tour, but we're not gonna go with merch. Like, we just aren't thinking smart yet.
Right.
We have to start doing it. I don't want to do ClickCat forever, and none of us do either. But for the meantime, I want to ride that bitch out. I want to have fun with it, and I want to do it right too. So
there was this one band from Idaho. I forget their name, but what they would do when they would go on tour, they would actually like just go to like a thrift store and buy as much like t-shirts or jackets or whatever, and they would like spray paint their name on it and then sell it at shows. It's like, all right.
That's extremely DIY.
Yeah.
We did it similar. Like, we went to the Goodwill, and we went to the bin where you get a bunch of bulk shirts for like $2, $3. You get like 15 shirts or whatever. Then you go home, you have to get the whole stencil for the ink or whatever. And we inked ours or whatever, and you have to like rip them off. And some of them came out pretty well. Some of them came out like absolutely shitty. Like, I have a shirt where you can't even see it. You can't even see it.
Right.
Shameful.
And their CDs were burnt, and like when you get the when you buy a CD and you look closely, it's actually like a cereal box that they made it out of. It's like,
who is this for?
The band that would sell shirts or buy the stuff. Yeah. So they would make their own CD covers too, and so they'll just use like cereal boxes as like CD sleeves and stuff. All right, well that's cool. I mean.
Yeah, that's kind of cool too, because it's kind of like you think of the album more as like an art project as opposed to just an album. If they're doing an intimate kind of like release like that, a band on our label, Kuromi, we're gonna put out their album coming up pretty soon. They're gonna do all their tapes handmade.
Oh wow!
Pretty much. So that's gonna be super sick.
That's a lot of work. Ooh. Well, that's cool though. Yeah. Kuromi, right? Wow.
Kuromi, Kuromi. Right. I would have sent you some of their new shit, but I don't even think they haven't really. They have a music video out right now that's actually doing pretty well. It's a really good one. You should check that out.
Nice.
It's for their song called "Good Shit," and they have some crazy crowds. They actually have. I have to send you some footage. You'll see them on Pennyback TV if you cruise around Pennyback TV. They have some good footage up on there.
Nice. Who did the track "Savage"?
Oh, that's a band on our label called Beach Bums. We're doing the release. It's coming out next week. It's coming out this Friday, actually.
Oh, nice.
And then we're doing the release show this Saturday, I believe. ClickCap's going to be on it as well. Another band on our label, Jurassic Shark. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Sure.
That album rips. We're doing 100 CDs for those and 250 tapes for those. Can't wait to see how they come out because the album art looks really sick.
Nice.
You should check them out. Check them out.
Yeah, that Jurassic Shark. That's pretty good stuff, man. I really like that. I thought it was.
Have you listened to J Shark?
Yeah. I've heard stuff on Bandcamp. Yeah, for sure. That's good stuff.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's. I like the diversity on Pennyback. It's not all hardcore, and then you got stuff like Jurassic Shark.
I was just gonna ask, is that weird to you originally, or do you kind of see that as like a benefit? Oh, I could like this label because they have multiple different genres within the rock umbrella.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what some people think about it.
Oh sure, yeah. It's I like that diversity. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Cause then it's kind of like the Hot Brothers. You can see some rock. It's kind of similar to these other bands, and it kind of bridges out into all this other stuff. And what's that one band? The Lucky Wife and Mother.
Lucky Wife and Mother.
Yeah, that stuff's tight too. Yeah, and yeah, because they're all kind of similar. They're not like completely different. Like, oh, you got like, well, I don't know if you have hip hop guys on Pennyback.
No, but we're actually really open to it. We've been trying to like scout and like hit up people doing hip hop projects to. We have a subgroup within the Pennyback squad called Yoshinoya Boys.
Oh, okay.
That's like a it's like a trap rap group that a bunch of dudes in Pennyback are in. I'll have to send you some tracks. That shit's wacky. It's actually kind of good. I'll send it to you.
There was that one. It was like a little video you guys did for like, I don't know if it was like for 1 or 2 shows, maybe even 3, and it was like, is it Mag, the singer?
Yeah, Mag.
She was like on the band, and you and like another dude showed up and like.
Oh, me and Ryden. That's the guy that does Pennyback TV with me.
Yeah. You gonna go to the show tonight? Yeah, I'm in that band.
Yeah.
What the? Okay, this is like some
very
absurd
awkward,
shit.
Dry type of humor. Yeah, that's a funny video.
I'm like, all right, and Yoshinoya Boys.
I don't know. Do you know the fast food chain Yoshinoya?
No, I'm not familiar with
that.
Beef.
It's like beef bowls and rice or whatever. Yeah, so it's a food chain over here, and it's called Yoshinoya Boys with a Z, I'm pretty sure, with a $sign. Some ridiculous stuff.
Oh, okay.
I'll send you some link.
Right on. Yeah, that's hilarious. But yeah, the diversity on the label is nice. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
It's good to know that.
Got that shoegaze going on, or I don't know if Jurassic Shark.
There's a kind of I don't know if you know Mataroom. Mataroom's another band on the label too. I drum in that band, and then the guy that does Pennyback TV with me, Ryden, writes pretty much all the music, and then Julian, who does Pennyback with me, is in that band as well. We're actually going to New York in a few weeks to play a few shows with Sloppy Jane, and that's gonna be really cool. But we're kind of like a shoegazy type of post-rock band.
Yeah, nice. So when did you guys start this label, like, officially? Like
2014.
2014? Wow.
With our band Baby Fleas, which was our first release. We released like both of their first EPs on like one single cassette. I think I have it somewhere over here. It's a sick tape.
Have you guys toured up on the Northwest?
The furthest Click Cat has gone is like,
or any of your other bands? Yeah.
Click Cat went to Arizona back in May. From California, and then probably the furthest we've gone in California is like up to Berkeley and Oakland, and we're trying to go to South by this year.
Oh,
South by South. Yeah, but actually, our friends, the Rotten Blossoms, they've been like begging us to come over to play in Hawaii. Down as fuck. So if we can do that maybe next summer, I'd be hella down, because I mean, one, I love Hawaii. Two, playing in Hawaii is something I never thought I'd kind of have the opportunity of doing. And if we have homies out there willing to put us up, then most definitely down to do that. We can kick it too. Come to the show. And
we'll barbecue, man. Shit.
Dude, please, let's barbecue. I would die for that, man. I would be eternally grateful. I'd want you to teach me. I'd want to know the like local skills, you know what I mean?
Oh, I ain't talking about no barbecuing no pig in the dirt. I'm just
like, we'll go for barbecue, dude. I'm down for barbecue anything.
Any day.
Barbecue sauce, we'll eat barbecue sauce. Like, take it to the dome, dude.
For sure. That Ditch Digger album that just came
by
out.
Plumber.
That's sick, yo. Who's in that band? Are you and Julian in that band, or?
No. Ditch Digger is by Plumber, and it's our friend Eric Fishcake on guitar, Jesus Aviles, who's the vocalist, and then our friend Aiden Yobear, who's the drummer in both Super Lunch, Click Cat, Plumber, and Xenia, another one right now. Those are the three ones that he's doing right now. Pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man, that's good stuff right there.
Yeah, just three dudes. They fucking rip it, man. I mean,
the opening track is, what the fuck is that? It's so, it's amazing. Yeah, that for sure.
Well, wait, what is it? Fuck you, I'm Plumber.
Yeah, fuck you, I'm a plumber. And then the lyrics. Well, and there's a song about the shoes. Sush shoes. Right. Sush
do you know what Sush shoes is?
No. What is that? I have no idea. No.
Sush shoes are, I don't know. They're your shady ass looking shoes. Like your shoes are so disheveled or so fucked up that, like, I don't know, people are kind of judging them in a way. And I guess that's just Jesus talking about his sus shoes and being like, "No, fuck you, I like them, fuck off." Almost every song on that album is like,
it's just
antithesis of fuck you. Like, the main point is fuck you.
Oh god, so, awesome.
But yeah, it's a cool album, man. And I think if you listen, the first half of that album are the songs that they wrote like a year ago, and then the second half of the album are songs that they have just recently written, like in the past 6 months. So it's like you see like a progression throughout the whole album, and the second half is my favorite part of the album. I think it's really cutthroat. It's some of the heaviest. It is the heaviest shit we've put out. It is the heaviest shit we've ever put out. So I really like that one a lot too.
Nice.
We have so many physical copies of that that I want to get selling. Oh, we're actually like opening up an online store in a few weeks, and we have a website coming out. Finally, we had the shittiest website for the longest time. It's the most embarrassing thing. Like, we never updated it because we just didn't want to touch it anymore. We're so shocked that we even allowed that to be public. And
was it like an Angel Fire site or no?
It was our friend Thomas Harris like helped us make it, and he's just like, yeah, my dad will make it on teacher pages, which is this terrible format. It was just like, it was just so bad, dude. And we never had gotten rid of it, and we like graduated from high school, and we kept trying to get in contact with Thomas Harris, like, yo, bro, can we take this shit down? Like, and he would just never get back to us for the longest time. We were just like, and it's the first thing that pops up when you type in Pennyback on Google.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, it was, and you're just like, oh god damn, like, we gotta get this out of here. So finally, it's gone, and now the new one's coming out, and we're gonna have an online store, and we have new shirts.
Nice.
They're sick as. Let me show you some.
Sure.
We got this new logo that our friend Grace made, which is pretty much like, I don't know, these are crusty ass kids that you would see at a Pennyback show. Yeah. So I'm really excited to bust these babies out because, like the Click Cat merch, the Pennyback merch has been lagging too lately. So it's like, it's hard, dude. Sometimes we'll have really, really good months where things are consistent, shows are fucking popping, and the interest is just there, like you can feel it. And then you get to another point of the year where it's like, you know, you feel like kids are getting sick of going to your shows or keeping up with what you guys are doing. So you always have to you have to keep going all the fucking time.
Oh yeah. What I like is when a band or label is very consistent or very active with whatever. Like, it's not like they'll do a posting in like June and then nothing until like the fall, like in October.
Oh yeah. It's like, why are you even following that account to begin with? I'd like to think of our Instagram account right now is just basically seeing, you know, like our whole collective having a progression of like different adventures and success. You know, like our bands go on tour. Or, you know, our bands are still very young. Our bands are still like doing all this shit themselves. And that's like one thing about our label that I think separates us a little bit is like we just kind of give our bands a lot of the freedom. I mean, I'd rather it be that way anyways, because like it's so hard to keep charge of all your bands. Right. But giving them the freedom, being like, yeah, you guys just do whatever the fuck you want, and you know, we'll just like, you know, we'll back you, and it's not we can't we don't have extreme services that we can give to our bands. You know, we put their music online, we put them on a lot of shows, we give them good connections and give them good opportunities, and I only hope that they get bigger from there and do all the shit that they want to do. So I think you see that if you like follow us. So if y'all are listening, follow us. At
Very
Pennyback.
active. At Pennyback, yes. Pennyback CA? No.
Pennyback CA on Twitter, on Instagram. That's where we put all of our shit. I'm so bad with the Twitter, dude. Like, I've been trying for the longest time to get somebody on our Twitter because that's just one platform that I didn't get into and I didn't really care for as Twitter.
I know. I didn't get it at first. I'm like, do you really just type random shit and someone's gonna see it? But like, that's why. And you got the account that's always just retweeting other shit. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, which Facebook became. The whole feed on my Facebook now is like 30% of the people that I follow, and the rest is like, you know, memes and politics and you know, scary shit, you know, pig beheadings and shit, like, you know, like just stuff that you just don't need to see on your feed all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it's become. Oh man. Super Lunch. That's this plan is a bust. So that's really nice track, that one. And
did you listen to it?
Yeah, I heard some of that, and the other tracks on Bandcamp too. That's just those three dudes, right? It's
yeah, it's so that's Aiden from Click Cat and Plumber, the guy that does drums, and he sings, and then Owen Miguel, and then Evan, who's in Click Cat as well, and Hop Brothers. Um, yeah, and he sings as well. All three of them sing their own different songs. They're kind of like our Blink-182 pretty much on the label.
Nice.
Pretty much.
Freaking
Yeah,
awesome.
they're really sick. They're a really sick band. We're putting out their album in 2 months, and it's gonna have it's like 18 tracks.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's called the Respiratory Olympics of Cigarettes versus Cereal. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. That too is like the Plumber album, where it's like a lot of those songs are songs they wrote a year and a half ago, and then the most recent ones that they've written. So that's going to be a really good album. I'm really excited for that. Yeah. A lot of us also go to. Some of our friends are starting to go to like audio engineering school, and like our friend Stephanie Loza, who's on the label. She's in a band called Wajadu. She does like sound at like she used to do sound at the Smell. Now she's doing sound at like the Echo, and now she's gonna come with us on our tour for Matarum, and she's gonna do sound with us in New York. Wow. So it's a crazy fucking. It's a network. Dude, the thing that I really like about Pennyback is like we've like my friend and I kind of created this little like machine that we're able to, throw different ideas in, and we're actually able to do them because we have these different connections and our homies help out. It's sick. It's a sick community.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Fun.
That's nice. That's sweet, man. Yeah, I like what you guys are doing right now. That's cool.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, you think you guys gonna do a big cross the country kind of tour from LA to New York and back?
Yeah, definitely at one point. Like, if we ever are able to get like a really shitty tour bus or a van, I think, and our schedules are all aligned, we will definitely bust a fat mission like that. Nice. I want to. Being on the road sometimes, I mean, I've never done an extremely rigorous tour, but, being on the road with your friends for even more than 4 days, right. At some point it's like,
someone's going to snap.
How am I going to do this with you for much longer, Some homies don't shower. Some homies don't, like, keep up their shit, stay cleansed, and tensions run high and whatever. It's fine, because at the end of the day, I think it's during the day where you're more angry, and then at nighttime you just kind of, like, chill out.
Right.
And you're just like, at the end of the day, we're in Berkeley at our friend's apartment, smoking a bowl, being like, we're in Berkeley, We're together, we're playing music. That's so sick. And, Yeah, so definitely I would want to do a really big tour eventually.
Do you know if is it better to buy a van or rent a van? I hear like horror stories on the road, and it's just like lots of van breakdowns.
Okay, I think if a band is willing to invest, especially a band like Click Cat, there's like 6 people. If we all had jobs and we all were willing to invest some money into a van, I think it's extremely doable. And the good thing about it being ours is like, you know, we can fuck it up, you know, without having to worry about it. I think renting is so stressful because I'm kind of like I'm like the hard ass dad in the band, I guess people would say. So I would kind of be all up in everybody's shit about, you know, ruining the car because I wouldn't
smoke
want
in
to pay
here.
for it, and I know they're not going to pay for it. So it's like, so yeah, let's have our car to ourselves where we can, you know, spill beer on it or poop in it by accident. Not have to worry about it. Fine, you know.
Oh snap!
Yeah.
Right.
Bless Mag, by the way. Bless Mag for putting up with 5 dudes. Because that's not easy to do. That's not easy to do for a girl to put up with 5 disgusting boys. So.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. It seems like you guys get along great. It seems like though.
Yeah, we get along, but yeah, we can definitely dislike each other too. But we love each other. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's cool.
That's cool. That's cool. Have you guys done any house shows before?
Yeah, we did a house show. I think it was like our 4th show with Sarah, our first singer.
Oh. Okay.
It was a UCLA house show, and that was actually a night that she came late. She came not late, but she came like 15 minutes before a set, and she came, and that was the night where she came, and she's just like, I'm gonna hit somebody tonight. I was like, all right.
Because I've seen house shows where it's like it's in the basement, and then I've seen other house shows where it's like in like the living room with like all the shit, and I'm like, you can't rock out, man. You just gotta stand there. You don't want to like break someone's shit up, man. It's like, oh, yeah. How do you do it? It's like, oh.
Don't you like the idea though of a show happening at a very weird destination, like a show happening in a bathroom, like a public restroom, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be sick as fuck. You stack kids in there, kids are like all mushed up and crowd surfing and shit in the bathroom. That would be sick.
Right.
But yeah, I wanted to play basement. I don't think Click Cat's ever played a basement. There's no basements here in Los Angeles, really. There's not even really much attics either. So we usually play backyards if we do play that sort of a setting. Backyards are fun though. I like backyards. We once played at our friend Ryden. His sister used to host shows in her backyard, and they made this like makeshift stage one year. And it was so it was wobbly, dude. It was like not fun to stand on, especially for Click Cat. There was like 5 people on it at the time. And Kieran had, our keyboardist had a keyboard that was like, I mean, I can't even show you how big because I can't stretch that far back, but it was fucking huge. And just like balancing on that while we were trying to play was, yeah, it was crazy, dude. It was, yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, I think that's good enough for this.
Yeah, dude. We kind of like crossed all of it, man.
Yeah.
Talked live and music and Green Day, so it's like
that's it.
Dude, thanks for having us, and for letting me, I guess, talk about what we do and the shit we have to offer.
Yeah, sure. I'll hit you up on Twitter and send you through.
Yeah, definitely, and I don't know, maybe teach me how to use Twitter one day or something.
Not much to it.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you for coming out. Yeah.
No problem, definitely. I'll see you soon, man.
Yeah, take care, man. Peace.
Bye.
All right, that is it for this show. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, thanks to Lewis and Pennyback Records. Thank you for your time and the music. Be sure to check out Pennyback Records on Facebook. They also be on Instagram and Twitter. And check out other music and bands on Bandcamp. That's Pennyback Records, PENNI backrecords.bandcamp.com. On today's show, I played tunes by Beach Bums, Click Cat, Plumber, Sloppy Jane, and Super Lunch. Timestamps and song titles available on this podcast show notes, or check it out on the website takingtheleadmedia.com, along with past episodes and my on and off ramblings. This podcast is also an Apple podcast. Check it out on iTunes and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you like what you heard on today's show and what I'm doing here on the podcast, do me a favor, rate and review this podcast on iTunes. Would love to read any feedback you could give me. I'd be very much grateful for that. And do recommend this show to a friend. They might hear their new favorite band on a future episode. Hit me up on the tweets at TTLM Podcast with any comments, questions, music recommendations, submissions, or just to say hi. Anything at all. Love the interaction. You may also send that along with any general correspondence to my email, takingaleadmedia@gmail.com. Please join me on the weekly. I have another playlist for you next week with more awesome music. Until then, I'll be signing off until the next Taking the Lead Media podcast. Thanks for listening. Control it. I try and to